Reconciliation. It's a powerful word. By all means, a good intent. But how do we move forward?
It's like the little things have changed. In 30 years, little things have changed, and I don't know whether it's enough sometimes.
Or how do we actually change things so we're thinking differently, you know? And that's a challenge. It's a real challenge.
I still get that you don't look Aboriginal. I still get asked to be more Aboriginal.
You get tired of having to educate people all the time. We see what's wrong. Society knows what's wrong in this world.
It's really disappointing to be still being called a lot of names, and it's just, yeah, sometimes emotional, sometimes emotional.
The experiment began by selecting a group of non-Aboriginal artists whose job it was to depict an Aboriginal member of their community through the expression of art.
Non-Indigenous artists working with Indigenous people is always a beautiful thing. I actually can't wait, and I'm very excited to see what they come up with.
It's really interesting because when I look at the way an artist thinks, I think is really cool, because they actually they think a little bit deeper around a person.
You know, the portrait doesn't just capture who you are physically. There's a story that's coming out from that canvas.
I think it will be really well received by the community, Aboriginal community and the wider community, as a good step towards reconciliation.
And there's a lot of learning in there. So people are going to change through this process, which is beautiful because change is what it's all about these days.
The first step involved bringing our artists and sitters together to find out who they were paired with and who they were going to spend the next few months getting to know.
I was really nervous coming into this. I didn't really know. I was still in school, but just had to come and show my support.
I've got a few ideas in mind, but I think that's definitely going to change and shift as we probably talk and get to know each other a little bit more.
I'm Ashton. I'm in year 12, so at Seton High School. From Sajuna, Warringah. My dream job is basically a tugboat driver. Basically love the water. I live off the water sometimes. I live in the water. Yeah, I love baseball a lot. I love it. Yeah, that's what I love to do. My grandfather used to come to my games. Every game, every training. He used to push me to get to training, and he passed. So that's why I'm still push myself to get training, and it's a bit hard, yeah. Got him with me every time I go up to play and bat, and that's why I like it a lot. The challenges I faced was racism, being stared at a lot, getting called a lot of names, It's really hard to get through that, but every day try to get through it. I just want to be out there and try and improve myself to make it to the next level, but when people call you names and that, it just puts you down even more. For me, you know, I love everybody, every culture, but for them to hate us back, I don't know why. I don't know what we've done wrong. My grandfather wanted me to be better than my opponent. He always said to me, you gotta be better than your opponent. So that's what basically kept me going. I love my family, definitely. My connection with them is just really good, you know, like, I go back to Juna, I see everybody there, family's really everything to me.
In my head, for some reason, I have this concept of a really old man with lots of wrinkles. So it couldn't really have been more wrong, could I?
I'm Ricky Miller-Wilson, born and raised here in Adelaide, but I'm a Narungga Adimatana Warringah woman, single mum of 2 boys, so 9 and 5. So that's busy enough, but I'm also a health and wellbeing program facilitator with a company called Sonda, and we're based in Port Adelaide. But I also have a small business as well in the same kind of field, so you know, holistic health and fitness and wellbeing, but this one is a bit of my own twist on it, which is keeping culture at its core. In 2018, I was successful in being selected, so they had 6 men and 6 women from across the country, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, and it was for the Indigenous Marathon Foundation. So it was extremely hard and extremely challenging, but I was successful in making the squad. Early November, we headed over to New York and we ran the New York Marathon. Like many people do when they run a marathon, they say there's this wall, invisible wall, that they all talk about. And I did hit that wall. It was all spirit. That was the only thing that carried my body to finish that marathon. And yeah, it was such a surreal moment when I did see those flags and see the finish line and saw all the rest of my team like waiting for me, and it was just like this energy just come out of nowhere, and I like sprinted across the line. You know, everything in your mind is saying stop, just give up, don't worry about it, it's too hard. But then that's that mental and that spiritual, that fight in us, in all of us, that's just like, no, you've got this. You did not, come this far to only come this far.
My expectation of the project was to come in and share a bit about myself and meet an artist who's going to be doing the painting of me, and hopefully we can spend some time together and learn from each other. Yeah, my name's Shane Cook. I was born here on Kaurna country, but my family can be traced all the way back to the Kawa and Woolly Woolly people of central Queensland. Since then, I've gone on to finish school and become a mentor, and now working in schools, and I'm also a full-time artist as well. My artwork kind of goes across various mediums, so tattooing, aerosol art, I'm studying art psychotherapy.
So how I'm going to approach capturing Shane is we had a chat last week about where his lineage comes from and who he is a little bit. So we're talking about the aspect of the warrior. When
I was quite young, actually, it was in an incident where I got burnt, and I ended up spending an extended period amount of time in hospital, and that's where I really started to learn about my family history, about being an Aboriginal young man, and seeing photos of these Aboriginal warriors or dancers, and just seeing how strong they looked. That was something that really drew me into wanting to learn more about my culture. Obviously, overcoming that part of my life, there's some aspects of having to be a warrior to kind of get through that.
And then I just added the idea of smoke, because we talked about using fire or smoke because he has some history with fire and he really wanted smoke in the image.
I just knew that I was going to be a part of this crazy project of making a little film and having portraits, and I thought it sounded really cool. So my name's Itika Ukala Sanderson Bromley. I'm Adnamatna from the Flinders Ranges, Narungga from the Yorke Peninsula, and Yaliyandi Wanganul from the Simpson Desert. I am an Aboriginal artist and dancer. I'm studying at uni, doing a Bachelor of Arts with a major of anthropology. I do education in schools, doing dance, art and cultural workshops.
And I really enjoyed Itika's openness in talking to me a lot about her culture and her ideas and the place that she most calls home.
So we're talking about maybe going home to my country and explore up there, and I can show her around. She can see kind of what I see and what my life is when I'm back home.
Sort of establish sort of where Rodney fits into community, what he's interested in, and then the more I get to know him, I'll come up with a plan.
Well, I'm Rodney Welch. I'm an Aboriginal man. I'm a Narungga Aboriginal man, and my family comes from the Yorke Peninsula of South Australia. My mother always took me back to the, to Point Piers or across to Rauken, which are, basically Aboriginal missions. So growing up, my mother always took us to these places. I think I'm a really lucky guy, honestly. All my professional career has been where I've worked with the Aboriginal community, sitting with elders at a table for 30 years on a fortnightly basis, talking through community and what's going on and how we manage things. For me, going into a courtroom, because my life was about justice, and where does Rodney Welch sit in justice? And it's really strange, because when I first started in justice, I was this little black fella, where I've come from a family of alcohol, come from a family of crime, I've come from a family where my brothers have been locked up more than they were probably out at that time, and so all that sort of stuff, thinking, here's Rodney Welch working in a justice space. How weird is that? My role right now is really about Aboriginal outcomes. How do we improve the awareness of Aboriginal outcomes to the broader non-Aboriginal community? I've had opportunity to step up the ladder, but the more you step up a ladder, the further you get away from grassroots work.
Well, I'd like to meet Margaret a few times and learn, really know her story.
I relate to the Ngarinjari. I was 11 years old when my grandmother passed and said she was the oldest living Kaurna woman at the time. I've dabbled in all sorts. I think my journey would have started when I was 8 with Chasm, Centre for Aboriginal Studies and Music. I played in one of the first Aboriginal orchestras. Culture's always been in me, I know no other way. It's my backbone. And I thrive to educate.
I love meeting new people, and like for me, a social butterfly, I go out there, I smile at everybody, and regardless of whether they smile back, but it just takes that one person that's toffee-nosed that wants to look down her nose at me, and that just sets the whole pace of it all backwards. My family, growing up, they're not racist. They think that we've got problems, us older ones, because of how we deal with it. Yeah, but then I don't know whether they recognise that their Aboriginality today either, as children, and how they'll grow to become adults with it.
It's only until we got called down the stage, oh, this is the speaker and this is the artist, I think, oh, great. I'm the Aboriginal culture broker at St John's Youth Service, here for close to 7 years now. Come from a stolen background, so I didn't really know who I was till about 36. So I was taken as a baby. At 17 I joined the Defence Force. I was in the Air Force for 21 years and retired, and then went into the airlines for another 16 years. About that 36-year mark I started thinking, well, who am I? What am I doing? I knew I was adopted, but I didn't actually know who I was, so it was about finding out who I was. So I got in contact with the adoption agency in Perth, and so this is my name, and the woman said, I've just heard that recently. And I said, well, there's only 3 of us in Australia, but what had actually happened is that my birth mother was looking for me within that month period to reconnect, so yeah.
So I caught up with Alex at the church where he used to work, and we went for a walk into the parklands with his family, and he showed me some of the special trees that were there, which was really interesting. Particularly like the shopping tree. So it was sort of like, you wouldn't go to the shops, like this tree would provide so much of what you needed, which I thought was a really nice idea. Alex is such a nice guy and he's so friendly and welcoming. But I really liked this particular picture because he looked very strong and he looked kind of like a guardian of the parklands or something like that. So I don't know, I thought it was a very cool photo, and yeah, he looks fantastic.
I'm a Barkindji woman from far western New South Wales. So Ghana country for me has been a healing place, and a place where me and my daughter can be safe and we build a beautiful life together. I think identity continues to be strengthened over time, and I found a way to strengthen that through creating songs in community with children, with the Titjikala women, with women in prisons, song people out in the community. I'll write a song with anybody, and that's just, yeah, it's really strengthening.
And I also very much want it to be about a collaboration with her art and mine. That's why I'm going to get her to write on the canvas her lyrics.
That's how my life flows, through melody and connecting with people, musically. Got a number of projects coming up this year. I've just finished a couple of weeks of songwriting with the Titjikala Women's Choir. That community is an hour and a half out of Alice Springs, and we sat down for a couple of weeks to write 4 songs in Pitjantjatjara language, and that was incredible to spend some time with some of Australia's most powerful song women.
While the artists were busy developing the various portraits, we wanted to hear their thoughts on reconciliation.
I mean, I want to make a difference, I want to contribute, but am I allowed to? Am I crossing boundaries? Would that be welcomed, or am I going to be seen as interfering in some way?
Particularly with my art and dance, I've seen how well people receive it, and through my work doing cultural education, I've seen how willing people are to learn and how keen people are to learn.
To me, reconciliation is about coming together. It's about collaboration, and it's about mutual respect.
I would mould you out of love instead of forging you in pain.
Give me chills, that's beautiful.
To identify as an Aboriginal woman in 2021 with this skin still challenges people's notions of what Aboriginal people are or who we are, what we look like.
Obviously going into it with the right intentions is really important, but you don't want to be too afraid to do anything or too afraid to say anything.
Oh, I think a lot of people just put it in a too hard basket. Like, it's too hard, I don't know how to, I just won't engage with it, I won't do it, I won't be involved.
From a reconciliation point, if we're talking about relationships and working together and making sure we're both being heard in our voice, we're not doing that when it comes to outcomes with the justice system, child protection system, social justice systems, all those, health and well-being. Those things aren't really being heard as clearly. So we're still doing a lot of the band-aid, I would say a lot of the band-aid approaches to dealing with Aboriginal issues in this country. Yeah.
People are feeling like this kind of social change is enough, and they're feeling like, oh, I'm a good person now, like I believe in it and all of that, but it's easier to say it without doing anything.
And things like reconciliation is, the heart's in the right place, but sometimes when we come down to the structure of it, it's just like, is it to tick a box? Is it for people to feel less guilty about things? Because for me personally, like when Reconciliation Week is over, we're still Black, we're still Aboriginal, we still have to live with the things that are not fair, and everybody can see that it's not fair, but we live in a society where people are too afraid to stand up.
What shocks me the most is that a separation or a discrimination just over people's skin colour, which is, I don't get it, I really don't get it. They don't see the human behind the colour of the skin or something, yeah.
But it's come a long way from when my elders were young, obviously, and they went through a lot more and they fought a lot harder to get to where we are now, and now it's up to the young people to keep fighting to move forward.
Now, despite the nerves that most, if not all, artists had, the inevitable time had come to present their final work of art.
I am feeling incredibly nervous at the prospect of giving this to Nancy.
At this moment, yeah, really scared that she won't like it.
I'm very nervous, a little bit nervous.
Yeah, for me the same, bit excited though to see it.
The making of the art is really fun, but to see someone's reaction when it's their likeness that you're trying to portray, and whether or not they like it, it's like so nerve-wracking.
Really nervous. It's going to be really cool seeing it.
Hey!
Hello.
How are you?
Here we go.
This is so dramatic.
It's a little...
It's very dramatic.
Oh my gosh.
There you are.
That's crazy. That is so good. Thank you so much. I love it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just beautiful. All right. It's you.
No way.
Yeah.
Actual?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Nah, this can't be real.
Oh my God! I love it! What are you talking about? That is so beautiful! Oh my God!
Oh my God! Oh, far out! Oh, gosh. Well, I know it's me.
It better be you.
Wow. It certainly is.
One thing I'm really proud of is, like, I love my eyes because they're my dad's eyes. You've just captured everything perfectly.
Oh, it's a shock.
It's a shock. It's a shock or a bad shock?
Oh, it's a good shock.
Reborn are my ancestors. They walk through me, I dance through them. I just wrote that recently.
I know, and I loved it. When I read that, I thought that's got to go in the picture somewhere.
It's so fitting.
She inspired me in a way I didn't expect.
On a good day, it would have been difficult to kind of get me to look at myself in this way and feel like I do right now. But on a bad day, almost impossible, and yet it's just cut through all of that.
There wasn't a minute that I wasn't learning, there wasn't a minute that I wasn't engaged.
You can't help but love someone when you're in someone's company. So we need to be together more. Should we do a Nancy and Cheryl? Sign out Nancy and Cheryl?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
I was told to call Alex Uncle Alex, and then I felt like, oh, should I or shouldn't I? Is that like allowed, or you know, that kind of thing. So I'm learning a lot more about the culture.
Thanks so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is, wow, this is, I just can't get over this. This is so cool.
Have you got any words?
Nah, got no words at all. No words to explain it.
I didn't ever think that this would come about, not for me anyways. I feel almost like a celebrity.
For somebody to have spent hours and hours looking at your face and spending hours before that, you know, hearing your story and trying to connect with you as a person, to see that reflected on a canvas is pretty overwhelming and beautiful feeling, yeah.
They've all done exceptionally well, you know. Brilliant, brilliant works of art that they've done. And to be able to capture people in just their everyday poses, it was fantastic, you know. So they've really like listened to what was asked of them, and you know what they've come up with is fantastic. Couldn't ask for a better night.